Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carter Walker. I talk about movies, music, games, and comics. And tonight I just saw Creed 3, directed by Michael B. Jordan. My background looks a little different. It's just because I'm at my parents' house right now for spring break. But I was able to secure some early, Wednesday night screening tickets for Creed 3. I was able to go with a couple of my buddies. And I just wanted to talk about it. I was really looking forward to this movie, honestly. I really love the first two Creed movies. And full disclosure, I hadn't seen most of the Rocky Balboa movies before about a week ago. I had seen clips and pieces of almost every single one of them except a few, but just had never watched any of them all the way through, and I just watched them all, and I ended up loving most of them. I really genuinely now can say that I really love this franchise. I love the character of Rocky Balboa. I love the character of Adonis Creed, and I think Rocky is one of the the greatest fictional characters ever made. He's super inspirational. That first movie is just so inspirational to so many people, and I really dug it. And the first two Creed movies are awesome. I really love both of them. I think the first one is a little bit better, but the second one just does such a great job of giving us so much closure for both Rocky and for Creed when it comes to the Dragos. Also gives them a lot of great personality as well. So I was really looking forward to this movie. It was definitely in my top 10 most anticipated for the year, and I just got out of it and I want to talk about it. I'm very interested in talking about it. So, starting out with the positives, Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors are the standouts here, particularly Jonathan Majors. He's had, already a killer year with Quantumania. He's the best part of that movie. He was really good last year in Loki. The year before that, he was pretty good in The Harder They Fall, the cowboy movie on Netflix. He was awesome in that as well. And he just gives a really great performance here. He's so dynamic, very charismatic, very shredded too. He's very physical with his performance. And I don't know if he did his own stunts, probably not, but it looks really realistic when he's boxing. He looks like a powerhouse. You just believe every punch that he gives is just gonna hurt like crazy. And anytime that he just knocks someone down, you know they're down. They're not getting back up because they're down. And his character in this movie is very interesting. He's an old friend of Adonis Creed's, and you learn more about that as the movie goes on. I don't really want to spoil it since that's the main crux, the main drama of the movie. And I thought that for the most part it worked, especially his friendship with Creed, kind of reigniting as he gets out of jail. That's in the trailer, so it's not too much of a spoiler. And then kind of, taking a downturn because of things going differently. And there's a lot in this movie that I didn't know. So I'm going to try and talk a little vaguely about it. And then, of course, Michael B. Jordan, he always gives such a great performance. He's so magnetic, very charismatic, very likable. And in this movie, he's the same. He does a great job in the dramatic scenes where he has to, own up to something, or he has to let go of guilt that he's had. Of course, he's very good as, the boxer. He's very good when it comes to that. Whether he's doing his own stunts or not, I'm not sure. But again, looks very realistic. And he's also taking a big step this movie with the director's chair. He is the director of this movie, and I think, for the most part, he did a pretty great job. There's a few things in here that I don't think worked as well as he was hoping they would, or I don't think they quite stuck the landing like he was hoping they would. But for the most part, he does a very competent job directing. Very good job. There's a lot of great shots in here. I really liked, every time someone's about to step in the ring, it shows their faces, their eyes staring at each other, and then it shows their shorts and their names on their shorts and how it's different styles, and I thought that was pretty cool. I liked that. Also, if it sounds like I'm kind of whispering, it's about 1 in the morning right now, so sorry. And I also really enjoyed the fights in this movie, except for one. I think the fights in this movie are helmed very well. They're very fast-paced, very realistic. There's a lot of great slow motion there, a lot of great emotion. And you just feel every hit that people take. You just see every hit. The makeup, of course, is great as always, and you just feel like you're in the ring with those boxers. Just watching the fight go down. So that was awesome. And then the first half of the story, I think, played out really well. It was really interesting. I was very engaged and seeing where it was going. I was always like, okay, so what's this? What's that? What are we doing with this? Where are we going with that? So that was awesome. It was really cool to see it play out like that. So yeah, big positives to the acting of everyone here, Michael B. Jordan's direction, and the fight sequences, all very, very well helmed. And, quite a bit of the drama is done very well. I thought a lot of the drama was done pretty well. There's a lot of great scenes with Creed and Bianca and Creed and his daughter that I think were done pretty good. However, that's kind of where my positives end. To be honest, I was a little let down with this movie. I was a little disappointed. I don't know what I was expecting. The early buzz for this was super positive, and I was expecting something on par with Creed, if not a little better. That's what they were hyping it up to be, and I think it honestly didn't even reach the highs of Creed or Creed 2. And so, just talk about kind of what went wrong with this movie. Going into the score, good. It did not resemble anything with a Rocky movie. It had bits and pieces of the Creed theme and bits and pieces of the finale theme that every Rocky movie plays, but for the most part, a lot of the themes from this movie and the score was very alien to the Rocky franchise. It just felt off. I missed, of course, I will forever miss Rocky's theme. I will forever miss the Rocky theme for like Gonna Fly Now. I'm not 100% sure about all that. I could be totally talking out of my butt right now, but those were very sorely missed here. And I do think that although they wrapped up Rocky's story incredibly well in Creed 2, with one of the best endings for Rocky that I've ever seen, when it comes to Rocky 5, Rocky 1, and then Rocky 5, and then Rocky Balboa, out of those three endings, I think Creed 2 has the best ending, the most, emotionally resonant for me personally. But I think that there's a big Rocky-sized hole in this movie. You can definitely feel Sylvester Stallone's presence missing from the movie. And there was this big argument with the producer that he had. And, it feels very wrong to see Sylvester Stallone's characters on screen without him in it or without his blessing. Usually I'm someone that doesn't really care about that. But after rewatching all the Rocky movies, Sylvester Stallone just knows these characters. And I think that there's easily a big gap in quality here because Sylvester Stallone isn't involved. And of course he's had his missteps, like I'm not a big fan of Rocky 2 and I'm not a big fan of Rocky 5. Rocky 4 is even mediocre for me. But I think for the most part he understands these characters very well. He knows what they want, he knows what empowers them, he knows what drives them, and he knows how to build like tension. He knows how to build those like gut clenching moments in the ring where you get chills. I didn't have any of those this movie. This is one of the first Rocky Creed movies where I didn't like outright get the chills in the theater. There's one part in the training sequence that I was like, oh, that's awesome, that's sick. And then Dame's fight, but there was no part with Adonis Creed, coming back. There's no part with him just making this big step for himself in the movie, overcoming a big obstacle, like how there is in every Rocky movie. It's maybe a little formulaic, but it works. There wasn't anything like that for me in this movie, and maybe I was just too negative. Maybe I was expecting something else, but for me, that was definitely a big missed opportunity. I walked out of the theater feeling a little unfulfilled, honestly. I think that another mixed would just be that the story, especially going into the last half, just falls flat. The first half of the story is really good, and then the last half of the story is things start to be revealed, other things start to come and play. Didn't really play out so well. And then going into the negatives, that's probably my biggest negative, is just the last half of the movie just felt so incredibly rushed. The first two acts just build and take their time, and then something happens, and boom, we're in the final fight. And boom, this is happening, and boom, this is happening, and boom, the movie's over. And it just felt so rushed. Like, it felt like I missed like a big 10-minute chunk of the movie. Like, I felt like there was a bunch of things that were cut out of this movie that could have been really important. There's plot lines that are dropped going into the second half of the movie that get picked up in the final scene. And they're not very important. It's just small character things. But again, it would have been nice to have those kind of building crescendo into something throughout the movie. But it feels like a lot of the plot lines regarding Creed's family, Bianca and Amara, are just dropped completely. And, for me, it just doesn't feel as cinematically or thematically emotional and resonant as it could have been. It feels like a very big missed opportunity for me, and honestly, I was disappointed. I hate to be negative about these movies because, again, I really do love these movies. Creed 2, Creed, Rocky Balboa are some of my favorite movies of all time, movies I'll be watching for the rest of my life, but it just felt off. And there's a big, thematic, stylistic choice that Michael B. Jordan makes as a director, and that, the Ryan Coogler and the other Coogler, I'm forgetting his name, make either as storytellers. There's a choice the creative team makes. I'm not sure how to designate it. I don't want to pin it on one person, and it will work for some people, but for me, it's a choice in the final fight that they make that just took me out of the movie completely and ruined the final fight for me. It ruined the big climactic battle between Creed and Dame. I mean, obviously it's between Creed and Dame. It's in the posters, it's in the trailer, everything. He's the villain of the movie, and it just kind of ruined it. It made it so I couldn't get invested. I couldn't buy in, and I was very disappointed by that. I can't lie. It really took me out of the movie. It really bummed me out. I have a lot of issues with the third act of this movie. I don't think it's that very rewatchable. Stallone is missed. There's a lot of choices in the third act that I really didn't like. I think Dame as a villain, he's the most fleshed out. Jonathan Majors really gives it his all, but I think his writing definitely declines as the film goes on. I think the quality of the film declines as it goes on. I really was not rocking with the movie as it kind of wrapped up to a close. And as far as a ending for the Creed trilogy, as far as an ending or a stepping off point for something without Sylvester Stallone, didn't work for me. I don't think it worked at all. The usual things that are great about the Creed movies, the acting, awesome, the direction, good for the most part. The casting is spot on. Jonathan Majors is an incredible new addition. The fights, I think, like I said, they're the best they've been, except for that final fight. It was ruined. But a lot of it just fell flat, and I'm not sure why. This review is going to be kind of unstructured. It's going to be pretty vague, just because I don't know what went wrong or how to talk about it. I feel like it just doesn't feel like a Rocky movie, and that might be on me. That might be totally on me. I'm seeing a ton of praise for this movie, a ton of glowing reviews, people saying it's the best in the franchise. In my opinion, weakest of the Creed movies, one of the weaker movies is the Rocky franchise, honestly. I'm not sure what went wrong. It might be on me as a viewer with my expectations. I didn't temper them enough. In conclusion, guys, Creed 3 is a very messy ending to a trilogy. Starts out very strong and then rapidly declines in quality, leading to a very rushed and very messy third act that I was not a fan of. Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan give outstanding performances, but aren't able to quite save this movie from mediocrity. Overall, I'd probably give it about 3 stars, maybe like a 5.5, 6 out of 10. I'm going to say it's positive, but for a Rocky fan, disappointment. But it's a good movie. It's very well put together, very competently made. I just think that it's not very good, and the Rocky franchise doesn't fit very well. There's a lot of choices that I really disagree with. Have you guys seen Creed 3? If so, what did you think about it? Do you think I'm totally wrong? I'm a disgrace to the Rocky franchise, or do you kind of agree with me and think that the first 2 Creeds were miles better? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you're not already. And as always, I'm Carter. Have a great rest of your day.